Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Some cases are so horrifying that they permanently change a nation's conscience. Tonight, we are talking about one of the Japan's most disturbing criminal cases, a case that exposed the darkest corners of human cruelty and raised painful questions about justice. This is the story of Junko Furuta, a 17-year-old girl whose life was stolen in one of the most shocking crimes in modern Japanese history. Beyond the horror itself, this case forces us to ask, when the justice system protects the offenders more than victims, who does the law truly serve? Junko Furuta was an ordinary high school student in Saitama in 1988. She came from a loving family. She was known as polite, responsible, and kind. She worked part-time at an electronics store, had big dreams for her future. Like many teenagers her age, there was nothing extraordinary about her life until November 25, 1988, the night everything changed. On her way home from work, Junko was approached by a teenage group of boys. One of them was Hiroshi Miyono, had a reputation for delinquent behavior and claimed connections to organized crime groups. He manipulated the situations using intimidation and fear to gain control. He was taken to a house owned by one of the boys' families. What was supposed to be a brief act of violence became something far worse. Junko was not released. She was held captive for 44 days. Over the next month and a half, Junko endured unimaginable abuse. Multiple individuals were involved. What began as a criminal behavior escalated into systematic cruelty. She was isolated, threatened, and prevented from escaping by fear for her family's safety. Her parents reported her missing shortly after she was disappeared, but the perpetrators forced her to make phone calls claiming she had run voluntarily. Those calls misled authorities and delayed rescue efforts. There were moments when the intervention could have happened. At one point, police visited the house after receiving information that something was wrong, but they were turned away. The family denied everything. No one looked deeper. No one found her. By early January 1989, Junko's physical condition was severely deteriorated due to prolonged abuse and neglect. On January 5, 1989, she died from the accumulated injuries inflicted over those 44 days. She was just 17-year-old. After her death, the perpetrators attempted to hide the crime by placing her body inside a metal drum filled with concrete. For weeks, her family have no idea what had truly happened. This case might never have been discovered, if not for an unexpected confession. In March 1989, one of the perpetrators was arrested for separate crime. During questioning, investigators uncovered information that led them to the concrete drum. Inside the drum, they discovered a body of a young girl. Fingerprints analysis confirmed it was Junko Furuta. The Japan was shocked. What had happened behind closed doors was now public knowledge. The main perpetrators were arrested and charged. However, there was a complication. At the time of the crime, the offenders were legally considered juvenile under Japanese law. Under the Japanese juvenile justice system in the 1980s, minors were typically shielded from harsh punishments. Their identities were often protected and the legal emphasized rehabilitation rather than punishment. In 1990, the court found the primary offenders guilty, not of intentional murder but of bodily injury resulting in death. The sentences ranged from several years to a maximum of 20 years for the ringleader. No death penalty, no life imprisonment. For many citizens, it felt like justice had failed. The case sparked national outrage. Media outlets revealed the identities of the perpetrators despite juvenile protections. public anger grew over what many believe were dangerously lenient sentences for such an extreme brutality. The case became a symbol of systematic failure. Police missed warning signs, a family's denial prevented intervention, the legal system prioritized rehabilitation over accountability. Junko's funeral was attended by her classmates and community members. Her school awarded her diploma posthumously, her family received her on her behalf, but no sentence could return their daughter. Perhaps one of the most disturbing aspects of this case is what happened afterwards. Some of the perpetrators were released in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Reporters later surfaced that several had reoffended in violent crimes. One was involved in fraud and assault, another was arrested again years later. For many, this reinforced public fears that the justice system had been too lenient. The assumptions that rehabilitation would prevent future harm did not fully hold true. The Junko Furuta case forced Japan to confront difficult questions. Should juveniles who have committed extreme crimes to be tried as adults? Rehabilitation always the priority, even in cases of extraordinary brutality? How can police better respond to warning signs of abuse? And most importantly, how can we protect victims before it's too late? Over time, Japan revised aspects of its juvenile law, allowing for harsher penalties in certain severe crimes, but many believe those changes came too late for Junko. It's important that we don't remember this case only for its horror. We remember Junko as a person, not just a victim, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a student with dreams. Her story continues to be told not to sensationalize suffering but to highlight systematic flaws and demand accountability. True crime should not be entertained alone. It should be a reflection. Junko Furuta case remains one of the most haunting criminal cases in Japanese history. It exposed failures at multiple levels: social silence, police inaction, legal limitations, cultural minimization of violence. Justice is meant to protect the innocent and deter the guilty. When that balance tips too far in one direction, society pays the price. Junko's story reminds us that the laws must evolve, not just to reform offenders but to prioritize victims and prevent unimaginable harm. Perhaps the most painful truth of all: justice delayed is painful, justice denied is permanent. If you believe the justice system should always prioritize the victims first, then share your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, remember the names, remember the story, and never let them fade into silence. That's all for today. See you in my next crime documentary. Till then, stay safe.